These are some of the thousands handed the worst punishment, life in prison, except they didn't commit the worst of crimes. Instead, they are stuck indefinitely, in some cases for stealing a mobile phone, or in Wayne Bell's case, stealing a bike at 17 years old. He was sentenced to 2 years, but served 12. He's now detained in a mental health hospital because his family say he couldn't cope.
Wayne's been on 24-hour watch now for 2 years. We don't think he's going to come home alive. He'd be upset and just say, listen sis, just tell me what I've done. Because I know it's not over a bike. I know that. And trying to explain to him all the time that it is. He just doesn't believe me. You get to the 6th year, the 7th year, the 8th, and then you get to the 10 years. You're like, what? It's just shocking. Wayne's had to watch people walk free. Rapists, murderers, pack their bags and go. So I can see why it's damaged him.
Imprisonment for public protection orders were intended for people considered dangerous, but whose offence didn't merit a life sentence. Almost 9,000 IPPs were issued between 2005 and 2012 when they were abolished. But existing ones remain in effect, and more than 1,600 prisoners have never been released. 71 people with IPPs are known to have taken their own lives.
I know what I done was wrong and I deserve to go to jail, you know what I mean?
Martin Myers was sentenced in 2007, originally for 27 months, but he's still in jail for burglary. Like many other IPP prisoners, he self-harms and calls his sister-in-law sometimes 10 times a day for support.
You know what I mean? And then I got done for attempted street robbery and I got IPP for that. That's 16 years ago.
How is Martin doing?
Martin tells me every other day that there's no way out. He can only see one way out, and that is for him to die in prison. He's adamant that everything bad is happening out here once he's inside, that is having an awful huge impact on Martin. He's tried numerous attempts at suicide. Well, there's been so many times now we're scared every time the phone rings just to get that phone call that Martin is dead.
Even if released, though, people are on licence for the rest of their lives and can be recalled back into jail indefinitely. One of the reasons many agreed this law is fundamentally flawed, including the man who created it.
How could you introduce a law that was so widely misinterpreted and misused?
I don't blame anyone for this other than myself, because I should have been better prepared to lay down in legislation, in detail, precisely what should have happened. That didn't take place. A lot of lessons have been learnt, but above all, the lesson that having abolished the Act in 2012, we're still here 10 years on, having to mop up the consequences.
The government says it's trying to progress prisoners for release, but those still held are deemed a risk to the public. That's not what thousands inside feel, though, who hope for a chance to have their lives back. Sangeeta Lal, News at 10.